Coming up on CTV News tonight, the big chip in for Christchurch and investigations into demolition waste. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Rob Cope-Williams. The suggested cover-up and delays in announcing the future for AMI Stadium is a non-issue, according to Jerry Brownlee. He says the situation is simple.
Tell me, in all honesty, why do we not know more about AMI Stadium? Why is it a secret? Why is it being hidden when we own the jolly thing and have to pay it back?
Well, look, I don't think it is a secret. It's very damaged, and yeah, they've got to make the assessments to work out exactly how they go about a repair. So I don't think there's anything being hidden here.
Well, how bad is it?
Well, from what I understand, it's the initial assessment was that the stadium had performed according to its design. In other words, it sort of slumped a little in the middle, meaning that had it been full, everyone would have got out okay. Now the question now is how do you put that back together? So that's the work they're doing at the present time.
Further damage from June 13?
I haven't heard any reports about that, but
you're the same as us then.
Well, only in so much as what I've learnt is that the initial sort of look that people take at any of these problems does need to have a bit of backup over a period of time. So, look, I've been at pains all the way through this not to keep things from the public in any way, particularly around the geotech work that's being done, and for the whole city. And and what we're learning about the geology underneath us is also very, very important. There'll be another briefing on that tomorrow from GNS for media, so we just want to keep it all coming out.
But as we look at some, we know the state of QE2. We've had a report on that. It's come out. Public accept it. That's fine. We've had the announcement today with Pirate Park, so people have to accept that. That's it. Surely we're entitled to some trickle of information regards a big cost to ratepayers, which is AMI.
Yeah. Well, look, you'd need to talk to the council about that. I think they should be up front and tell people exactly what the situation is. It's clearly more damaged than was initially thought, and I would hope that they've got a pretty clear timeline. And I guess what they'll be struggling with is exactly how it might be fixed.
V-Base being absorbed into the council, your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they're not going to have any revenue stream for quite a time. They've still got the same outgoings, and someone has to pick that up. So I think probably that's the only alternative that the council had. Might be some questions about how they've gone about it, but in the end, business as usual doesn't work at the moment. So just got to make the best of the difficult situation we're all putting up with.
Mr Brownlee says he's concerned about the way the Christchurch City Council is handling matters.
Well, look, I think the council should not be behaving the way they are. We've got all hands at the pump. We've got every government department now represented in SERA. We've got a huge amount of effort going on from people in all sorts of fields, education, health, and in the business community. We haven't seen the sort of unemployment that we might have because in their workplaces, individuals are going the extra mile, and I think these guys are going to get on board as well.
I think to use a sporting analogy, it appears to the public the eye's been taken off the ball a bit.
Well, it doesn't look good, I've got to say that, and it does need a bit of a tidy up.
Are you personally intervening in that?
That's not my role at this point. Sarah's got...
Might have to?
Well, Sarah has a focus on the rebuild of Canterbury. We don't want anything that artificially prevents that going ahead at a reasonable pace.
As you would know well, having lived here all your life really, when something doesn't come out, that's when the gossip machine starts, doesn't it? And I think that's
right.
a real danger.
Yeah. That's right. We had a little bit of that with the land decision the other week, and it was very, very hard to keep holding a line that we needed to get all the information. But once we had it, we're very confident that we've made the right decision for people, and that the offer we put in place is pretty fair. But yeah, look, this is not a time to be sort of hiding things away from people.
Environment Canterbury is investigating earthquake demolition waste being stockpiled, buried or burnt illegally.
Environment Canterbury has announced it's currently investigating 5 cases of demolition waste being incorrectly disposed of.
Environment Canterbury operates a 24-hour pollution hotline, and we get information from the public, and that's how it's happened this time as well.
ECAN, the Christchurch City Council and SERA are all involved with managing the appropriate handling, recycling and dumping of demolition waste. SERA is talking with the contractors working in the CBD cordoned red zone to make sure they're managing debris in a correct way.
These are trying times, and there's a lot of rubble and waste that needs to be managed properly. We need to make sure that it is managed in a way that doesn't cause any serious environmental effects. and there are processes set up between ourselves, Sarah and the contractors, and they just need to be followed.
Mr Morio says there's a strict, correct process.
The rubble needs to go to an area, and at the moment it's Burwood landfill, where it's sorted, and then the different types of material are disposed in different areas.
ECAM will not say where this illegal dumping or burning of rubble is occurring, only that all 5 cases have not come from inside the CBD, where Sarah is supervising the removal of demolition material to the Kate Valley and Burwood landfills.
All I can say is that they're all outside the main CBD area, or outside of Christchurch area, and yeah, they're still under investigation, so I can't narrow it down anymore.
ECAN says a strong line will be taken on those who dump demolition waste illegally, endangering the environment and people's health, but they've not decided what charges these people will face.
We haven't made a determination on that yet, because there's a lot to be taken into account, but it's a very serious situation. I mean, the types of materials that are being burnt or buried can have serious health hazards to not only the people in the immediate vicinity, but groundwater bores, and also those that are actually burning the material.
Environment Canterbury is keen to hear from anyone who knows of any illegal dumping or burning of materials. You can contact the pollution hotline on 0800 77 6658.
Welcome back. Labor has announced it will introduce a 15% tax on capital gains from April 2013. It would also introduce a new 39-cent tax rate on income above $150,000, affecting about 58,000 taxpayers. However, this has drawn criticism from the government.
These guys are baking a tax cake and they must be doing it in Hell's Kitchen from what I can see. I mean, it just doesn't stack up, and that is the problem with a comprehensive capital gains tax. You've either got to have it on everything or operate the way we do at the moment, and the way we operate at the moment catches the vast bulk of people. As a result of the changes we made in Budget 2010, we took away most of the exemptions in the area of property. So look, I just don't think the fundamentals of what they're proposing today will actually work. What it will require is a lot more complexity, a lot more accountants, but not necessarily the right outcome for the economy. Look, I think it's very important to recognise that we do have some high income taxpayers in New Zealand. Yes, there are people who are earning in excess of $150,000, but they do pay an awful lot of tax, and again, they employ a lot of people. They're entrepreneurial often in spirit, and so, the view from my government has been we want to encourage more of those people to operate in New Zealand, to have their jobs in New Zealand, to employ others. And if you go and have a look at the changes we made in Budget 2010, yes, we lowered the top personal rate. We also lowered the rate that meant that 3/4 of the country pays 17.5% or less in tax. And we've actually got a system where everybody's paying their fair share and doing it in a very uncomplicated way. Once you start having a different top personal rate to trust rate, then you just go back to all the games of tax planning that we've seen in the past. And frankly, as we've seen, when there was a differential between the top rate and the trust rate, actually half the people on the rich list didn't pay it anyway. I don't care about Labor's polling. What I actually care about is what's good for the economy. And the time where we're starting to grow, do we really want any more taxes on the economy? Why do we need that? Under National's plan, we get back into surplus in 3 years. There'll only be us, Australia and Korea in that position. We have very low levels of debt relative to other countries around the world. We're fully provisioned for Christchurch. I mean, we've seen growth in the first quarter in New Zealand of just under 1% announced today, and that's on the back of one of the most severe earthquakes New Zealand's ever had to endure. Well, if we can do that under those conditions with the economic settings the government's presented, we can do even better in the future. And I think having more taxes, well, that's just because Labor just love to tax and spend. At the end of the day, we've got a plan that we've presented to the country. We've had to endure a global financial crisis, 3 earthquakes of significance in Christchurch, collapse of the finance companies, and yet we've got an economy that's growing. We're creating jobs. Arguably, we're actually doing better than Australia in terms of a lot of the numbers that you're now starting to see out of our economy. And the choice for people are, if they want to pay less tax, vote National. If you want to pay more tax, vote Labor. Well, in my view, if we propose what they're doing, they'll certainly run a lot more debt. They'll discourage people in certain areas of the economy which are starting to grow. They won't raise a lot of revenue. They will be an absolutely fantastic windfall for accountants who will have lots and lots of work, but for the rest of the economy it'll be bad news, and we just don't support it.
New Zealand Police are using street art featuring scenes from the February earthquake to recruit new recruits. Some of the work was unveiled at 2 central city sites.
Constable Spence Kingy helped to rescue 3 people in the central city on the day of the quake. The first was a woman stuck in an elevator shaft. He then dragged a man away from falling scaffolding and gave him first aid. Finally, he and a member of the public worked to free people trapped beneath the rubble of a bar. Constable Kingy joined the police after struggling to find work as an actor, and he hasn't looked back since. It's a career choice police want more young people to make. They hope retelling their stories through street art will encourage them to look at policing in a new way.
It's fantastic to be able to, help showcase the police and their heroic efforts and individual efforts, being able to help recruit the kind of demographic we need, which was the 18 to 25 year old male and female mainly, and different ethnicities.
A second artwork at 817 Colombo Street is based on Japanese-speaking officer Nao Yoshimitsu's work, consoling relatives of the 28 Japanese victims. The artworks were based on the officer's experiences, but actors were used to portray the civilians out of respect for the privacy of those who died.
It's quite funny, the photos they took beforehand, you don't really get to see what it's like until you actually see the images yourself. So it is quite nice.
Because of the sensitive nature of both stories, communities were consulted and the sites were blessed by local iwi before the paint went on. Auckland-based artist Otis Frizzell was commissioned to do the work, giving him a new appreciation of what Christchurch has been through.
It's been pretty amazing actually. Went through the red zone. It was quite harrowing. You don't really see much of it on TV, but when you're there in real life, you sort of feel inspired to get involved.
He got to know the Christchurch officers as they told him their stories.
It was pretty inspiring, It's like, I don't know if I'd run into a building that had half fallen down and drag people out that were, I don't know if I'd risk my life to save others. It's a hell of a big ask. And these are just quite plain, just ordinary dudes. But he, had his uniform on and leapt into action. I thought it was pretty awesome.
Although the artworks were quick to appear, they took much longer to produce. Otis spent more than 12 hours creating the stencils he used.
What we did first of all was actually shoot the scenes so we could get all the lighting right, because I wanted to get as much realism sort of into the final artwork as possible. So we shot it, then I took it home and with a projector and cut all the stencils, and that's the long process. It takes about a day and a half to cut it, but the actually putting it up is pretty quick. Just tape up the stencils, undercoat it, bit of blue, bit of highlights, to bring some colour out, and then bung on the black. So it looks quick and easy on the day, but the hard work's at the back end.
Welcome back. Well, Pete Smith's hard to keep track of, but today he's at one of his old haunts.
We see, when I get out and about, you never know where I'm going to finish up. This is memory lane for me. A lot of you will have been here. This is the Heathcote Valley Inn. Now, it's not as we know because it got smacked badly. But the great news is they are rebuilding it and they've made tremendous progress. Dean Calvert's going to be mine host again because he was in the old one. Dino, this is real quick, mate.
Oh, getting on with the job as quick as we can, sort of try and make something a bit more positive for the area. Everyone's been through a lot.
How long have you been working on this one now?
8.5 weeks.
Really? Yeah. Now, it's two-storey. The thing I like, and if Johnny gets a shot of it in a minute or two, you'll have a look. It's kept the original sort of fronted shape, hasn't it? Well, very narrow, yeah. and then just going down. It was great.
The architect's done a great job of trying to keep it original to what it used to look like.
Tell me, when did it actually turn to custard?
September 4th last year. Was down on September 10th.
Really? As quick as that?
Straight in. Yeah, it was a bit of a hazard the way it was.
So there's no way you could salvage it?
No.
No, it was shot.
Yeah, all the walls had fallen out. And
Now, what you've decided to do, just talk us through what you're going to end up with.
The pub's going to be twice the size it used to be. Have a restaurant. We've got Rob, the chef from the Volcano in Littleton, coming to work in the restaurant. Have accommodation upstairs. We've got 4 self-contained apartments. Is
there a need for accommodation here?
I'm not sure. There's sort of find out.
Well, you'll live in one.
Yeah, or maybe.
It's got to be a perk in it for you.
There's a bit of a shortage around town though, isn't there?
Yes, there is.
Accommodation.
Dead right, yeah. So 4 apartments upstairs, self-contained.
Poker machines downstairs.
Right.
TAB.
Now, with your poker machines, when the pub went over, you were still able to retain your licence for those?
Yes, the licence on hold at the moment.
Right. Well, that's good. There's got to be a real enthusiasm to have it back, isn't there?
Oh,
What are the locals saying to you?
locals are that happy to sort of driving past, keeping reports on how it's going, and
telling you where you're going wrong?
all got their own opinion.
They'd all be clerk of works, wouldn't they? They'd all know.
All building instructors.
Now, let's go for a wander, mate. How do we get in here? So this is it here?
Yep, the beer garden is going to sort of start from here and go right down to where the container is. There's an entranceway here, but that's going to get blocked off. And there'll be a different entranceway made around the other side, so where the cars used to come in, it's all going to be part of the beer garden now, so it's going to have a...
So you've got to raise a lot up here though, mate, at the moment. You know,
no, it's all...
The doorways are quite high, aren't they?
Yeah, no, the whole thing's got to be sort of come up a couple of foot.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And what will you do with this area? What will you pave it, or what do you do?
It's all going to be concreted.
Concreted, yeah.
Yeah, with...
No maintenance?
No.
All right, so this is...
we've got seating around the trees.
Yeah. Kept the old tree.
Keep the trees part of it.
Which is great, yeah. Now, this is the bar.
This is the bar. Now, the restaurant's, or the poker machine's going to go along the wall here.
Yep.
And the restaurant will be the other side of that wall.
Right.
Everyone asks about where the well used to be.
Yeah, the well, yeah.
Well, here's the well at the moment. It's going to get built up to be a leaner like it used to be.
The real round, eh? Yeah.
And as you can see, the back door used to come through the door about here, and the well was just there.
Yes.
So now that's how much bigger it's going to be.
Right down. That's massive, mate, when you look at it from there.
Yeah,
that's great.
You wouldn't think the pub was on the corner.
No, you wouldn't, would you?
What the area you used to have.
Oh, it looks stunning. I'll step over the well carefully. And all down here as well.
Along here is going to be just a bar.
Yeah.
Just about to serve everyone from here, and then there's a wall coming through here for the front bar.
Right, front bar there and then into here.
Yeah.
And then the big area right down.
Yes, the toilets are down the far end there.
Yeah. We'll go into the restaurant. We'll probably get something to eat in there because you're that far ahead.
Well, we had the chef here yesterday, getting things sorted out.
Yeah. I see some of the old drunks are turning up, Dino.
Yeah.
I see that. Hello, mate. I'm busy working. This is the restaurant, so this is where we're going to eat.
Yep.
In here. Stunning.
Yeah, it's only going to be a small sort of six tables, but
great.
24 seat.
Where's the kitchen from here?
Kitchen's just behind that wall, just there.
So just come through to there.
Yeah, it's straight out to here, but there'll be a lot of snack food and that for the bar.
Great.
But if people want to come down and have a way to look after them, this will be the area for them to be in.
Well, there we are. I'm with mine host. Next time I come down here with Johnny, the cameraman, we'll be actually probably able to have a quiet, which will be great. Looking forward. Dino, congratulations, mate.
Thank you.
You must be so thrilled that it's got as far as it has already.
Yeah, it's good for...
Opening day when? When do you hope?
Aiming for 4th September.
Really?
Anniversary.
Anniversary day. Yeah. Anniversary day, the 4th of September. That's when the walls came down. This 4th of September, they'll be well and truly up. There we are at the Heathcote Valley Inn. A lot of you will have great memories of times that you've spent down here. The great news is you can do it again 4th of September. Make a note of it.
Roger Sutton says Sarah is proceeding with what colours those living in the orange and white areas will end up with.
We're still working through the geotechnical work to try and work out those people in the orange and the white areas, what colour they go, and that work's proceeding. And we're trying to prioritise that work so the people that have been living in the most squalor for the longest are going to get the information soonest. So that work is proceeding, and we hope to get some of that information out within the next few weeks. But we've also been working with the people who are in the red zone to try and establish hubs for them, a single place where they can go and get more information. We're also trying to work with the land developers to try and ensure more land comes to market quickly. So there's a lot of work going on around those sort of issues.
All right. So let's look at the CBD. More demolition going on in there?
There's a lot of demolition going on in there at the moment. I wish I could tell you how many buildings have now come down, but they're making good progress. The Clarendon Towers is going to come down, and there's a couple of different work plans on how that could happen. One of them involves explosives, so a very, very big building to come down. But I mean, and I think the other thing that's happening there is Cashel Moor. we're still on track there to get that open by show weekend. There's a lot of work going on there, and a lot of people are working very hard.
Let's look at Clarendon Towers, because it's in a tricky spot there on Worcester and Oxford Terrace. You say it's going to take a bit of, explosives, but, they've got to take care of what's going on, the other buildings around, right? So how tricky is that going to be?
It is tricky, and people around the world don't normally take buildings down like this. It's unusual to pull down a building that's surrounded by, in this case, some buildings in reasonably good condition. So that makes these demolition jobs much, much harder, and that's why you can't do it in 10 minutes. And the cost of these demolitions is big. It's in the order of, $5–10 million. They're very big numbers.
Today is the big chip-in for Christchurch. The aim of today was to let people in Canterbury know that they've not been forgotten.
So we've come down from Auckland today, and we've had our people from Westpac all around the city in all sorts of locations, cooking sausages, giving out lollies, and generally just giving out a lot of love as much as we can to everyone in Canterbury and Christchurch, saying you're not forgotten and we really care and we're here to back you guys.
That's CTV News. I'm Rob Cope-Williams.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.